When even the best compressor on the market doesn't get you where you need to be, it becomes a question about compression strategies instead of just choosing one tool. I didn't plan to make today's video, but I was working on a remix right now and I had the perfect example of something that couldn't be achieved just with one tool, and I wanted to share with you the stream of thought that got me to the point where I wanted to be. Because dynamic compression is about control with intention, always with intention. So let's see what happens here and how I managed to fix, at least for myself, what I wanted to achieve. All right, so let's play the audio example before and you will directly understand what is the issue here. I'm gonna loop this part. You get the point. We have something with quite a lot of transients. The sound is evolving, dipping at some points. It's not a regular dip. You might say that I could do some automations, but because the sound is moving through time and because I have this auto filter which is changing the tone as well, it would have been very tricky to get the control I wanted, and so I rather put some dynamic and automatic controls instead of drawing automations. So first things first, we hear transients poking at some point at the beginning, for example. Then there's the dip in loudness. And lastly, I feel the balance between the brightness and the body of the sound, between the low mid, is also shifting. And I wanted this to be more stable, yet with a bit of movement, also because there's movement in the sound and because I put movement with my filter here moving around. Okay, so how did I achieve this? The first thing in the chain that I went for was to go for Smart Comp 2 from Sonible, because this compressor has multi-stages. As you see, I have a first threshold here with a fixed ratio. This is tackling the louder parts. But also what I did is here upward. So this is classic downward compression happening from this threshold and above, but below the threshold, because I had the sound dipping, I have some upward compression happening, and then I come back to some 1:1 ratio for the quieter part. So the idea is I tame the high peaks, the higher, not really just the peaks, because I have a long attack time, so I let the sound breathe, but it's just like compressing the louder parts by reducing the level of those louder parts, downwards compression, and the quieter parts I push them back up. Let's listen before and after. Before. And after. You feel we have already much more control and something that is quite more evened out. Now, I felt that some of the peaks that I let through here with this long attack time were a bit too spiky. So I added a limiter. I love DMG TrackLimit. It's a very versatile, transparent, and very low on resources limiter. It's not the limiter I would use on masters, but for any single track limiting inside my mix project, it's my go-to limiter. Super handy, fast to set up, sounds well, and really low on CPU. I got it in punchy mode because I didn't want to squeeze everything. You have different modes. Aggressive, for example, was clamping too much and was distorted. I can let you hear it. And the idea here is just to tame those high peaks when they poke through. Let's listen without. With. Those first peak without. With. But the tone wasn't right, so this is why I went for the punchy, which is controlling the peaks but less squeezing it. Without. And with. Now we can do a A-B before, so we have high peaks controlled with the limiter, but I first compressed it so the even if the peaks go through, the average level is already a bit more controlled. So I have just a little bit peaks going through. Those peaks are controlled by the limiter, and the lower level information, but not the quietest, but the lower level information is pushed up. So I tamed the top, I squeezed the peaks, and I pushed up the low medium part. Without and with. Much better already. Last part is, and this is where really the details came in, I felt that the sound could be breathing a little bit more, moving a little bit more, and also that the low medium area of that sound was sometimes a bit too quiet, even if I was using the upward compression here. So what I did is go for Pro MB, multiband compressor, and here I squeezed the top band, where I did downward compression just to get a little extra squeeze on the tops without and with. And on the other hand, for the low mid area, what I did was also compression, but I did upward compression as well with long attack time. So it's getting back in slowly, and so it's more, because upward compression you have to see attack and release the opposite way. The attack is the time it will come back up, and the release is how fast is it going to be going down, right? It's still attack and release, but because we are boosting the level in terms of perceptive impact, it feels a bit the opposite. So what I did here was let the hits clamp down and go back to the normal level, so no compression. But as soon as we get out of, the tails are getting boosted. Let's listen to this low mid part without the compressor. And with the compressor. Here again, attack and release time are very important to get it in the right groove. Let's listen to the whole thing without the Pro MB. And now with the Pro MB. And this is moving, it's not static, I'm not killing everything by squeezing, but I get control over all the different aspects. The transients, the more peaks, the body, and the tone. Now the whole thing before now. And after. So as I said, I didn't plan on making this video, but I thought this was a very nice example of compression strategies. There are thousands of other strategies, but I think this illustrates properly one stream of thoughts about what I need to do at which stage to get full control over the sound and get to the place I want to be. I hope you liked it. I hope it was helpful. See you soon for more, and be sure to hit a little like and support the channel if you liked this content. Take care and bye-bye.